You're listening to No Filter with Zack Peter, your go-to source for all the latest pop culture and reality TV tea, served fresh all week long. Now, let's dive in. All right, guys, today I'm here. You've heard me all last week brag about this show that I've now become obsessed with, which I hope you have binged over the weekend. It is called The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. It is now streaming on Hulu, and I have two of my favorite stars from the show. When Hulu reached out and who was like, who do you want? I was like, obviously, I want the two stars of the show, being Whitney and Mayci. Ladies, welcome to No Filter.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Excited.
Are you excited that the show is finally out?
Yes.
Yes.
I feel like we've known about it for so long.
It's been a long journey.
So long.
And it's here.
finally here.
Is it as easy as filming some TikTok videos?
No.
Definitely not.
No.
Emotionally, no, for sure. But
Yeah.
then, like, you don't have to do any effort. Like, you're just living life, you know? So that's the easy part.
Yeah.
But then emotionally, not so much.
Yeah, it's pretty draining.
So prior to being in reality TV, so you guys created this TikTok account called Mom Talk, where you guys would go on, you would film videos about your lives as moms, as Mormon women in Utah, and then that eventually got enthralled into some scandal with some swinging.
Yeah.
Soft swinging. Can you define what soft swinging is for the audience? Because I think there's a little confusion off soft swinging and hard swinging, and if,
Yeah.
you know, Cialis is what's required to take it from soft to hard.
Yeah. I'll let you take that, Whit.
You know when it first came out, I actually had to Google it. I had to
you did?
Google what soft swing was because I didn't know either. Basically, when you're swinging, you're actually having sex. Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah.
Okay. But when you're soft swinging, it's like you're doing everything else, just not actually having sex.
Just not like the penetration part.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
From what we understand.
That's what Google says.
Literally.
So were you both raised in the Mormon church?
Yes.
Yes.
Both of us.
Okay. And so was that something you always knew you wanted to continue as you became adults, or was there ever a point where you questioned maybe potentially leaving the Mormon church?
I think for me, I had a period of a couple of years where I was inactive. I don't think I ever questioned leaving. I was just kind of like living life, like being a bad Mormon, I
Yeah.
guess you want to say, like having a little party phase in college. But I knew I always wanted to come back. And I think because the church is centered around like community and family, that's why I really loved it, as I love the community aspect of it. And it feels like home kind of thing.
I think if you grow up in a religion, it's always good to question it.
Yeah.
Which I did,
Yeah.
definitely. I
Yeah.
served a Mormon mission that I loved. I absolutely loved doing that. And during that time, you know, you learn so much about other religions because you're conversing with so many people about it. That was actually the time I questioned the most, and I'm grateful for that. But no, I've never wanted to leave the church.
And so what inspired you guys to pivot into going on social media and kind of being open with that? Because I think with any religion, there's obviously going to be stereotypes and criticism. I mean, as I'm sure you guys are facing now that, you know, you're speaking so openly about being Mormon on television. And I'm sure there are many people that are not part of the Mormon faith or that are part of the Mormon faith that obviously have their ideas. I've seen some of the feedback on
Yeah,
social media.
for sure.
But like, what inspired you guys to just pivot into being so open online?
I think for me, I started social media with the intention of just sharing my story because I was Mormon and I got pregnant outside of marriage and I have like a kind of a crazy backstory. And so I wanted to share my story to inspire women that they could do it too. Like not get pregnant out of marriage, but I mean like they can overcome anything that happens to them. And so that's kind of how I started social media, and it started like kind of growing from there. So for me, I went on social media with the intent to like share a story and inspire. And then from there, I guess it's like sharing our faith here and there. And I don't think we really share too much of our faith on social media at all. I think it was Taylor who would like make satire, you know, with like the Mormon culture.
Yeah.
And so like, I think we all do a little bit, like kind of troll ourselves with religion, but like we don't talk about it too openly, I feel like, until a show.
Yeah, if anything, we just like state that we're Mormon on
Yeah.
social media.
Yeah.
But on the show, you definitely see more behind the scenes
Yeah.
of how
Yeah.
we actually live it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. You get
And
like
so
the
was
inside
that
look.
nerve-wracking considering you guys were opening yourselves up to potentially more criticism?
For sure. I think I worried a bit. I don't want people to think I'm mocking the church. I don't want
Yeah.
people to think I'm being disrespectful, but I also don't know how it's going to be edited. So
Yeah.
I don't know how they're going to make it seem, even if I'm not doing something that's disrespectful. So I think that was a little bit of a worry for me, at least with the show.
Yeah.
I think we just wanted to be very mindful, very demure.
Very demure.
Going into it. Because we wanted to know, at least for me, I wanted to make sure that my individual intentions were in the right place.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I just did a TikTok about the very mindful, very demure.
Isn't she the best?
She
So good.
is,
I
but
love
I
her.
said, you know what? Some days I don't want to be mindful and demure. I want to be
Yes.
chaos.
I love it.
I'm dead.
So I feel like some of the feedback from, people online is that they feel like this may be making a mockery of Mormonism.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys identify with the term bad Mormon?
I don't now. I think
Yeah.
when I was doing things that were like very against the guidelines, I was like, yeah, they call it Jack Mormon. In our church, like other members will call you a Jack Mormon if you're like, not following the guidelines. But I wouldn't consider, at least those who are active in our group, active in the church, to be bad Mormons by any means.
And so how do you define bad Mormon? Like,
I
is
mean-
it drinking, cursing?
Yeah, like I don't even think I would say the word bad Mormon because like you're not a bad person if
Yeah.
you do those things. I would say like the culture calls it Jack Mormon, which means that you're drinking, like
Yeah.
you're probably having sex outside of
Yeah,
marriage.
like you're considering yourself Mormon, so like you may believe in it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're living it.
yeah,
Are you familiar with Heather Gay?
Yeah, I love
yeah.
her.
What do you think of her book about being a bad Mormon?
I've never
and her
read it.
kind
I
of-
haven't read it either. I
Yeah.
actually haven't seen The Housewives of Salt Lake, but I heard it's super good, so I think I have to start it now.
Do you guys feel like you're the younger, edgier Housewives of Salt Lake?
I wouldn't say edgier because I will say from what I've seen of the Real Housewives of Salt Lake, like we're definitely there's members in our cast that are more devout
Yeah.
than they are.
I mean, one of them's in prison right now.
Oh, yes.
Oh, I didn't
yeah.
know that.
But they even seemed like a little bit more farther removed
Yeah.
from the church, whereas like we're still living it. Like we're teaching our children it and so on and so forth.
Like, you don't drink, right?
No.
And so, there are still a lot of those, the lifestyle's a lot stricter, which
Yeah.
I found funny watching the show, though, realizing, because it's no alcohol, no caffeine, but yet soda is so big in Utah.
So it's
Yeah.
we can't drink caffeine. That's
Okay.
that's a miss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't want us drinking
Misinterpreted.
coffee and tea, but
Yeah.
like
Why?
a lot of us do. Like I drink coffee and
It's
tea.
in what's called the Word of Wisdom.
Got it.
And it has these guidelines where, like no smoking, no drinking, no coffee. So I think that inspired these soda shops that you see in Utah because, people will like wake up and get their morning coffee. So now you have these moms waking up and getting their morning. It's called swig.
The drive-thrus at
Yeah.
9 a.m.
Flavored
have
drinks.
moms in their minivans getting
And they are
44
loaded
ounce
with
soda.
And they're like
caffeine.
big gulp.
Yeah.
Like
They're loaded
44
with
ounces.
caffeine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mama's still getting her fix.
I do both. That's why I drink a little bit of coffee because to me it feels more natural.
Yeah.
And like soda's like synthetic,
Yeah.
like same with like energy drinks. So like I do have a little bit of a challenge with that guideline because I'm like I feel like it's healthier to drink my iced coffee.
So do you feel like you're hoping to change the stigma around the Mormon faith with the show?
I wouldn't say like I want to change the stigma. If
Yeah.
anything, I just like want to be relatable to other women,
Yes.
Mormon women who may be feeling the same way or
Yeah.
relate to at least one of us who is living Mormonism a certain way.
Yeah.
That's different from maybe whoever their parents were.
Yeah, like we want more people to feel like accepted. Like
Yeah.
you can be Mormon, but you don't have to be perfect. Like you can wear your tank tops, you can drink a coffee and still be
I
Mormon.
will say the way that you guys approach it on the show, like I don't feel like the cast or the editing is trying to force Mormonism down anybody's throats in
Good.
any
Uh-huh.
way.
That's good.
And at the same time, I also feel like you guys are still respecting your own personal boundaries of being like, we don't drink or we don't do this. Like, obviously, one of the spoilers ahead. One of the trips that we see on the show is the trip to Vegas, which I know
Yeah.
people also see in the trailer as well. Is this trip to Vegas and how that definitely triggers some of the women because it questions their relationships.
Yep.
So, do you feel like there were times where maybe you did want to bend a bit to impress the cameras? Or you were just very firm?
I don't think
and-
so.
yeah.
I feel like I was like I know who I am. I'm like confident in my decisions, and I think especially with Vegas, I'm like that's not something I would not do. Like
Yeah.
I've been to Thunder Down Under before. Oh, so it's a spoiler, but I've been to like one of those shows before,
Yeah.
and so I was like, for me, this is nothing. My
Yeah.
husband trusts me. We're confident in our relationship, so why would you have to worry about it? You
Yeah.
know?
And we were never pressed either to do things that we didn't feel comfortable doing.
That's good.
Yeah.
I mean, you were out there promoting the vibrators. I saw on Instagram you're still promoting the vibrators.
Still promoting.
Yeah.
Breaking the mold.
Yeah, like we're just having conversations that we would always have off camera, and now it's just like on camera, which is fun.
Was there hesitation going into production with Taylor given the fallout from the swinging scandal?
That's a really good question. I never hesitated anything. I think I just...
Because you moved from Hawaii. You were
I
living...
moved back from Hawaii. There was never any hesitation. I think I just like, do I want to associate myself with this person or not?
Yeah.
And I think too, like when you watch the show, like you'll see the whole backstory on it, right? So then you're like, okay, like once you hear someone's heart and you understand where they're coming from and you understand like why things escalated into what they did, then you have a better understanding of everything and like their intentions. And I didn't really have an issue. I'm like, I know who I am. I know I wasn't swinging, so I don't. It's fine if I'm hanging out with her. I don't care.
Has that ever been a question? Like, is swinging common within Mormon marriages?
No, it's not. Like, I think there's groups of swingers in Utah though, but I bet they're all over the place. But
they're
Utah,
all over the world. There's people who
there
love
are,
swinging, and that's fine. Like,
Utah's a bubble, so like there's known to have these swingers in Draper, Utah, as well. And there's like this whole like thing about it. So,
I didn't know that.
Whitney's a little more...
I'm a little bit more removed from that.
Yeah, she didn't know that there was like college parties at BYU either. She's like, what? Why wasn't I invited?
Like,
I'm like, there's a reason why you weren't invited, Whit. Like...
So was there anything more to you moving back to Utah from Hawaii? Because obviously you left around the time that the Tinder scandal had broke.
Yes. Yeah, it was like we were ready to come back. Like all my family's there, and we just felt ready to come back and rebuild our life there.
Do you regret coming back?
No, I don't regret it. Hawaii is such a special place to us and will forever be. But I don't regret it. It was time. It was time to come back.
How did you forgive Taylor for kind of, exposing all of you guys by saying everybody's swinging here in Utah, and she kind of insinuated that all of the mom talk moms were sort of involved, even though I think no one else in mom talk has said that they were part of the swinging outside of Taylor.
Yeah.
I think if you know who you are and you're confident in that, like the rest doesn't matter. Like people can think whatever they want about you. Like I know I'm not a swinger, so like why I don't need to defend myself a ton. Like it's fine. So I think it was a little frustrating at times. You're like, why don't you just like say something else? Or like you don't have to say specific names, but like why did you make it seem like it was all of us? But I think once we heard her out and like listened to her, like it was fine.
To be honest with you, I still don't really even know why she said it was all of us.
Because there was one person in Mom Talk who was involved, so she didn't want to say that girl's name and out her. So she
Do
said,
we know who that is?
She's not in the cast.
She's not in the cast,
really
so yeah.
But never really felt like I needed to forgive her. If anything, I got clout from it. So
yeah, Whitney loved it. Whitney loved making videos about it.
So then coming back, it did kind of feel like you were trying to be the queen bee. You kind of saw Taylor was kind of shunned from everyone because all the moms weren't really, hanging with her, with exception for you, Mayci. So Whitney, do you feel like you were trying to be the new queen bee of Mom Talk?
I wouldn't necessarily say, it was funny, we were talking about this on the drive over. I wouldn't necessarily say I was like trying to be the next queen bee, like get the M out of the way, Taylor. It was more so I missed getting together.
Yeah.
We weren't getting together anymore. And I was like, well, if nobody's going to plan it, I'm going to plan it. And so I started planning these content days, and then it was just like, Whitney is trying to be the queen bee.
She also is like the most organized, I would say, all of us.
Yeah.
Whitney is. And she does love to control things.
Yeah, that too.
In a kind way.
We're working on it. Thank you.
We're working on it.
So we obviously see that you reveal on the show what happened with the Tinder scandal.
Yeah.
How did you work through that with your husband? Because obviously I would imagine that's a jarring revelation.
Yeah.
Like, how did we go from, okay, he was on Tinder, but, we're staying together because he has a porn addiction?
Man, that's such a loaded question and such a long answer because there was ups and downs.
Yeah.
It was never like, woo, like all the way progression. It was, we're doing great. We're doing great, and now this is really hard.
Yeah.
Or we're doing great again, and oh my gosh, like this was triggering. It ebbed and it flowed. But it just, if you want to make it work, then you make it work. But it needed to be from both of us.
Do you feel like there was pressure from your faith or pressure from the internet to keep the outward-facing relationship, like keep it solid, keep the unit solid?
I love this question because there was when I had first initially found out, didn't even question that, like in the Mormon culture, you want to do whatever you can to not get a divorce. Like divorce is very shunned. And so immediately when I first found that out, I was like, well, I got to make it work. Like, I have to do this. And it wasn't until I sat down and talked with my therapist, and he's like, well, you have a choice. And I loved that, because I think if I did just continue to have this relationship with him, that for that reason, that it wouldn't be what it is today. It would be because I felt like I had to. But I had to sit down and be like, well, do I want to make this work or do I not?
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for therapy. And for somebody asking me that. Yeah.
I will say, like, with the culture with the church, it is different in Utah than it is in California, because you saying, like, I feel like I didn't have a choice. I was like, me growing up in California, I was like, no, like.
Oh, because you're an OC girl.
Yeah. So, like, I feel like the culture is very different in Utah. I feel like it's very much like that. And I feel like, at least for me growing up, like, I wouldn't have probably had that same thought process.
Really?
But it also could be the way you're raised, too.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it just depends on the person.
Yeah.
But Utah is very much, like, the
It's the heart
OG,
of it.
the OG area. So I
Yeah.
feel like it's more, like, strict to the core, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like, Mayci, you were a bit of the peacekeeper. Like, you were trying to balance a friendship with Whitney while also trying to balance a friendship with Taylor. And I feel like with some of the other girls, they were even trying to sway you from your friendship with Whitney and from your friendship with Taylor.
Yeah.
What made you kind of keep that loyalty all the way until the end?
Yeah. I would say I'm just, like, a loyal friend. Like, I don't like to drop people for any reason. Like, no one's going to convince me to not be friends with someone.
Yeah.
Like, my relationship with them is personal, and I keep it that way. And I do think I just, like, I don't know. I just, like, I'm a loyal friend, I'd say, at the end of the day. Like, there's no reason about it, because I'm like, I'm spicy for sure.
Yeah.
But I don't really let it out unless I'm really mad. So, like, I feel like nothing's a big deal to me. Like, I don't know. I really don't even know what to say. I guess I am just a peacekeeper. I just never thought I would be one, in general.
How's your relationship with Taylor now?
Me and Taylor, we still have a good relationship. I would say we don't see each other as much, but there's also, like, a rift between me and her boyfriend. So, I mean, I think that's also part of it, is that, like, me and him aren't always in the best of terms. And so I think it creates this weird tension. You know, for us, it's like, it makes it a little awkward, I guess. But, like, we're still, like, close friends. We just don't hang out as much as we did before. But I really don't think she's hanging out with anyone, really. Like, I feel like she's always just alone with Dakota.
Yeah. Well, I saw you just did a TikTok with her recently, didn't you?
That was
Did I?
content. It was a content day, I think.
Oh, yeah, we all did it.
It was, yeah, we were
did it
all together.
Yeah.
But when we chose to do it with Taylor, not me. She wanted more clout, and Taylor has more clout, so these are the facts.
How are you and Taylor? I feel like you
I
guys
think we're
had a
great.
rocky up and down
I
throughout
think
the
you can
season.
see, like, yeah, it was rocky up and down, but, like, I think it's cool to see, like, the progression of that relationship.
Yeah.
Because, it was fun. I was just
I would
telling
like
Mayci the
to
other day
say-
that we're closer now than we've ever been. So
And I like to say I played a part in that, because I would always try to
Go,
convince Whitney to
Mayci.
talk to Taylor. I was like, you just need to talk to her.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
you're just having a misunderstanding. And if you actually talk to her, I think
Yeah.
you would realize.
See, and I feel like you need more of those friends that are like, listen,
do.
I see both sides.
Yes.
You're
Yes.
both a little wrong. You're both a little right.
Yeah.
If you
Yes.
just come face to face, you can hash the shit out and just
Yes.
move on from
yeah,
it.
Macy's the
Yeah,
best.
I like to give people the benefit of the doubt. Probably too much, because it's burned me in the past. But, like, with Whitney, I could see it. I was like, I can see it. And I feel like I have no problem putting her in her place.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
like, any of my friends, but, like, in a neutral, peaceful way. Very demure.
Listen, Mayci,
Very
very
demure.
demure. I will say, as a reality TV connoisseur,
Yeah.
you are guaranteeing a spot for future seasons because you are a valuable asset to mending
relationships.
Yes, because
Yeah.
you're going to have, the villain or the antagonist and the protagonist. But if there's always somebody that's willing to kind of bring the group back together,
Yeah.
you're an asset to the
Thank
show.
you.
That is an insider production tip.
Well,
You
good
need
to know. I wasn't even trying to. So I guess it worked out for me.
So obviously you did have some issues with Dakota.
Yeah.
And we see Taylor kind of go on this journey with Dakota. And I had my feelings about him. And I think that on camera, we get one version of Dakota that I don't think is the true or full version of who Dakota is off
Yeah.
camera. And I think he's very mindful of when the cameras are on.
Yes. Yeah.
So how have you navigated your friendship with Taylor given the Dakota of it all? Because obviously, like, they are together. They have
Yeah.
a baby together.
It's been tricky, I would say. And I think the thing about Taylor is that she is also, like, a good friend, like, where she's like, oh, I don't care if he doesn't like you, I'm still gonna hang out, which I'm like, okay. Like, me and him, I wouldn't say, like, we don't like each other. It's like, this is how we both would explain it, because I feel like he feels the same about me as I
Yeah.
do about him. It's like, when we're together, we, like, vibe. I'm like,
Okay.
oh, I like him. When we're not together, I'm like, okay, I don't know about you. Like, and I think it's just because the things that Taylor would vent to me, being like, oh, he's doing this. I'm like, that's a red flag.
Yeah.
So I feel like she was venting to me. So I'm like, of course, as a protective friend, like I will say I'm a very protective friend as well, that I'm like, this is not okay. And so I think that's why we had a little bit of a rift for sure. But I do think they've been working on their relationship and they have been growing, which has been good to see. But it was tricky navigating that friendship because it's like I don't always want to be in the middle of it. I don't want to put myself in the middle of it, but I also want to be a good friend to you and like tell you how I feel.
Yeah.
So for me, it's even hard to navigate. So
I love the moment where you're having your baby mama photo shoot and he comes in and he's there to just support. First of all, you're like, I don't even know why he's here. He wasn't invited.
No,
And then he crashes the photo shoot and he's like, wait, can we just like take some photos of like me and Dakota?
yeah.
Did he ever get those photos?
He did. I sent him to Taylor, not him. But it was very interesting. I wasn't expecting that. First of all, I'm like, why is he here? Like, this is like for girls only. Well, not girls only, but like it was literally for like pregnant women and like, you know, women. So I was like, why? I feel like he always like trails along with her. So I was like, why is he here? Especially in the heat of the moment. I was stressed trying to like get my business launch together. He did get the photos, but I don't know if it showed it on the camera, but like when he asked me, I like, literally laughed in his face. I don't know if that like made it to the edit.
I don't think we see you react to it.
Yeah, because like when he first asked, I was like, what? Like I was like,
it was
is he
kind
joking?
Of awkward.
It was
and
very
then he jumps
awkward.
in and takes his shirt off and he's doing a whole photo shoot.
It was weird. He's also kind of a close talker. And I'm not, so I think that's probably why I laughed at him, actually. Because I'm like, why are you getting so close to me?
How has your family and friends reacted to the show? Or reacted to, I guess, the announcement of you guys doing this?
Mine's been positive.
Yeah.
I've had a positive. I think just people saying, like, close friends and family, like, I'm here for you if you need.
And we see a lot of your family on the show.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, mine has been really positive too. Like especially with like all the articles that came out where it's like swinging sex scandal, and like when you're from like a Mormon family too, it's like what's that?
You got to reassure the family members that you weren't involved in that.
Yeah, but I don't have to. My parents are like, we know who you are. We don't really care. Like they've been like super supportive, so I'm really lucky. Yeah.
That's good. I feel like all of your families, or at least the ones that came on camera,
Yeah.
were very supportive. I like how Taylor's mom really held her accountable a lot.
Oh, yeah.
We've also inserted herself into the drama a lot.
Yeah, oh, she loves it.
She loves it.
She's ready for her Real
love
Housewives
Leanne.
moment.
She eats it up.
She does.
Yeah.
So Whitney, you also got caught up in another scandal, and this kind of comes up in relation to your friendship with Taylor, and that's with choosing to make a TikTok video while your baby was in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Do you regret that choice?
Oh, 1,000%. 1,000%. I wish I never made that video.
You got a lot
because
of
the
heat for it.
outcome that came from it.
Yeah.
I think anyone would agree with me on that one.
Do you regret it just because of the outcome, or do you regret it because you think that the intention maybe wasn't genuine?
I think I 1,000% regret it because of the outcome. Because I know my intention going into it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't perceived that way.
Yeah.
So I would have never posted it if I knew that that's how it was going to be perceived.
Do you think it's challenging to decipher? Because I know I've struggled with this sometimes, and I've gotten myself into trouble with determining what's good content and what's like private personal life.
Yeah, it's hard to navigate. And I think too, like, unfortunately, I was in such a negative space already, postpartum. So I'm healing while my baby is not healing, that I wasn't thinking clearly. Because, we're always taught, like, think before you post. I would have never thought that that's what would happen from that video.
I think the challenge, like, for me is, like, yes, think, but also when so much of your life is content, it becomes challenging because then you don't know which parts the audience doesn't want to see or which parts the audience is going to react to in a way that is not your intention.
Yeah.
And the only way to know is to go through it, which is the unfortunate part.
And I think I wish people would give her more grace with it, because I think people are brutal about it, because I'm like, no, like, you're literally postpartum. Like, I don't think anyone, unless they've gone through it, can really understand how you feel. Like, your hormones are crazy. Like, you can't even control like your emotions a lot of times. So I think it's like pretty unfair that people still like bash her to this day about it. I'm like, let it go. Like, it's just silly.
Well, now it gets addressed on the show, and you're addressing it now that I think eventually people will start to understand your side of it more.
Yeah, I hope so.
Well, we do see Jessie, and I feel like Jessie's kind of, as the season goes on, a little bit of the sniper from the side that's kind of trying. I think she sees that there's this rift between Taylor and Whitney, and so Jessie kind of comes in and she's like, maybe I can be the new queen bee.
Yeah.
Did you see that while you guys were filming?
I 1000% saw it.
Oh, you saw it?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's like a little more aggressive with her words than I think I realized going into the show. I was like, damn, you got some spice to you. Like when
Yeah.
she was, when we
Yeah.
were filming, I was like, I didn't know you were like that.
Yeah.
She had a lot of strong opinions.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
What's your relationship with her like now? Has she become the new queen of mom talk?
No.
No. And I would say that not like, and to be rude, it's more just like she didn't really do TikTok and stuff before she met us. Like she wasn't as much on social media because she's like a successful business owner. So I think she's now becoming involved in the world of like making content that's not like revolving just around her business. So I think that's why we say, I mean, at least that's
I think
why
it was
would say
less
no.
about like being the queen bee of like our like content. It was more of want to be the queen bee of the group.
Yeah.
Yeah. But she already plays such a huge leadership role in her business and her family, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. So I think it just like probably just happened naturally for her where it was
Yeah.
like, well, like I want to be in charge.
She definitely snuck her way in. But listen, in the opening credits, we see the two anchors are Whitney and Taylor. So we definitely know who the stars are.
I think it's hard because like a lot of us have strong personalities. So when you get 8 women in a room who all have like pretty strong personalities
Yeah.
and who are like successful, it's
Yeah.
like there's always gonna be some kind of drama or a
For
fight.
Well, obviously there's going to be drama within, a group of friends. And then when you're on social media together, that adds a new layer. But then going into it, I think you start to discover other parts of people that you didn't expect.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
were some of those things that you learned from your fellow cast members?
I think Demi shocked me. Demi shocked me
Yeah.
at the Park City trip.
Yeah.
If you know, you know.
Yeah.
Like when you see it, like I was like, damn. When she like
Yeah.
came out, I'm like, this girl's like a pit bull.
Yeah.
Like when I like saw her starting to fight, I was like, oh. So that definitely shocked me. I didn't know that side of her at all. Yeah, I don't know how about you?
I think just like I don't know.
Like who shocked you though?
I would probably say Jessie the most.
Yeah.
Because I didn't really know her very well going into it. I knew everyone else very well
Yeah.
except for her. So I didn't really know what to expect from her.
Yeah.
She had a lot of opinions of you.
I know she did.
How are you guys with Jen? I know Jen's relationship as the season goes on kind of becomes a talking point with Zack.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we're all close with
Oh,
Jen.
yeah, no, yeah, we're all close
like,
with
we're all
Jen.
good with Jen.
Yeah.
Not necessarily her husband, but
Yeah.
that's a whole nother story.
I feel like that's a theme that comes up throughout the season is these relationships and how they have very traditional roles
Yeah.
within
Yeah.
the Mormon faith. Do you feel like your relationships are similar in that way? Because we
Not
see it a
at
lot
all.
with Dakota and Zack.
Not at all.
As far as like this is the patriarchy
Yeah.
and this is the matriarchy.
Yeah, and listen to
definitely
me,
not in
don't
my
threaten my ego.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Definitely not in my relationship. But I think like even outside of Mormonism it still happens.
Yeah.
It definitely still
Like
happens.
just yeah.
And I think
culturally.
like maybe this isn't a good thing to say, but we definitely both wear the pants in our relationship. Sorry.
You think I feel like we both share a leg, Connor and I.
You're
You
more,
don't think
You're
so?
more spicy than him though.
Yeah.
Like you can get like kind of pissed at him.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen him get mad at you, right? Because I only hear what you tell me.
That's
you know?
fair.
So
Well,
I guess
yeah. He's doesn't really. He's so nice.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like I feel like both of our husbands are like so nice. Like
Yeah.
they wouldn't hurt a fly. So
Yeah.
that's what's hard.
Yeah.
Now, Whitney, we do see you skip out on the Vegas trip, but like,
Yeah.
how do you think you would have interacted in the Chippendale situation?
Oh, I would have loved it.
Yeah, she
I would have
loves it.
loved to have gone.
And would Connor have been cool with it?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. We're just close enough. He would have known my intention.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm not, yeah. Oh, I would have had so much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you surprised to see how volatile of a reaction Zack had?
Not really. Like I think Jen was like nervous going into it. She's like, "What do I say to him?" Like when
Yeah.
she's gonna text him, like, "Well, you gotta tell him. You can't just like go and not tell him because he will like go psycho." And so she texted him, and like at first it seemed like he was not that upset, and then it like escalated from there. I mean, I was very surprised at how extreme the escalation got, but as far as him being mad, I wasn't surprised. I think he has some issues there with like maybe some insecurities in the relationship to where
Yeah.
he feels threatened by that kind of thing.
I don't know. I feel like I would, if I knew it would upset my spouse, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Or I'd have like I would just know. I'd be like, well, I'm not going to go because my spouse doesn't feel comfortable with this. So I don't know if that's a conversation that they had previously had, but yeah, if my spouse wasn't okay with it, I wouldn't.
I think the hard part
go.
too is that Jen would want to go because Jen like loves to dance and
Yeah.
she loves to have fun, and so I think for her it's that situation
And
where
Zach
she wants
liked to gamble, so going to Vegas
Yeah.
together was kind
Yeah.
of like a something
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
we would do together.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And their relationship definitely. I think we see, but one thing that I do like when it comes to Taylor, that or when it came to Jen, is that the way everybody rallies around them, like
Yeah.
the way you guys rallied around them, and we're like, listen, there are red flags that we see in your relationships that are troublesome for us, but we know your worth and we think you need to know your worth, and like
Yeah.
you built them up rather than
Yes.
trying to. Whereas I think on some other shows it's more of like an expository let's expose what's going on in your relationship and show how toxic your relationship is.
Yeah.
Whereas in this way it was more of like you had their backs.
Yeah, and I think that's we always will. Again, like I'm a very protective friend, so for me it's hard to see Jen go through this. Like I want to say more, like I want to say stuff, but it's like you're gonna kind of have to protect the peace, and like I just wanted her to always know like how much she's worth and that like she deserves the world, and yeah, that's it.
And Whitney, we do see you isolate yourself from the group a bit this season. Do you
Yeah.
have any regrets about that? Do you feel like you should have confronted some of those conflicts earlier on?
I mean, that's hard to say because I wanted to protect my peace.
Yeah.
And for me, that was the way of doing it, going about it, was separating myself so I could heal
Yeah.
before coming back.
And your friendship gets a little rocky. How do you
Yeah.
guys navigate staying
How
loyal
do
to
we
each
navigate
other?
it? I think it's been tricky. I think since the show ended, Whitney, you now like kind of moved a little bit far away.
Yeah.
But I feel like she did isolate even from me. We'd actually had a conversation about this at dinner last night, I
Yeah, we
think.
did.
And she's like, well, we're not as close. I'm like, well, you literally isolated yourself.
Yeah.
Like, I'm here. Like, I still hit you up. Like, I'm still here to hang out.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of up to you, Whit. Like,
Yeah, I do that.
Whatever's going on with her.
I'm sure people, even friends from the past, could be like, oh, yeah, Whitney does that. It's like, oh, like, I don't know how to navigate this anymore, so I'm just going to separate myself.
So would you continue with the show should it move forward?
I guess we'll have to wait and see.
How is Mom Talk doing?
I think it's doing great.
Yeah, I think it's doing great.
Yeah.
We made all our videos
Nothing
to
too
promote the
crazy.
show, and that had interesting feedback for
Yeah.
sure. I was not expecting a lot of it.
Yeah.
But overall, I feel like it's good. It's always fun to make content together and have those days together. It's really fun.
What was the most shocking reaction from announcing the show?
I think I was most shocked by like other fellow Mormon people.
Yeah.
I
That's
was
what I
like,
was
if
gonna
anything,
say.
I feel like we're supposed to be Christ-like and like uplift each other and accept each other, and we're
Yeah.
getting the exact opposite. It's like, we don't want you, we don't claim you, and I'm like,
Yeah.
what do you mean? Like, we're supposed to be accepting to everyone. We're supposed to like want to bring everyone to Christ, no matter how that looks, no matter how you identify, through everything. And so I think I was a little disappointed in my own community, and I even talked about it with my mom, and she was like, no, I was gonna say the same thing. I'm like kind of disappointed. And yeah, like it was that's probably the biggest shock for me.
I think that they just, like talking about the Mormon community, I think for when the trailer came out, that people just had assumptions that we were exploiting the religion
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
using the religion for fame and blah, 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 blah. But that was not it at all. Our intention was just sharing how we live.
Yeah.
And being Mormon is a huge part of some of our lives.
Yeah.
So that just comes with the territory.
And I think it's interesting too that like people think we're like using the Mormon name for money, whatever. It's like we didn't know the name going into the show. And when we first filmed the pilot, religion wasn't part of it at all. Like
Yeah.
it was about moms who do TikTok, and religion was nothing about it.
Well, and it was talking about the swinger scandal too a lot.
Yeah,
when we
and
did
the
the
swinger
pilot.
scandal, like religion was even an aspect of it. So I
Yeah.
think that's why I get frustrated, because I'm like, you don't even know. Like you're
Yeah.
judging off something you don't even know. Like we didn't know that going into it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
And I will say, for people that are on the fence about watching it or that haven't watched it yet, like, it doesn't make a mockery of the Mormon faith, but it also doesn't like push any agenda.
Yeah.
Like I didn't
Yeah.
feel the need to like I didn't feel like anybody was trying to recruit me, but I also don't feel like it made any mockery of the faith. Like, it's like, these are these women's lives. This is where they live. And, you know, these are some of their boundaries. But, like, it didn't even feel like I wasn't bothered by the boundary of not drinking or not feeling comfortable going to, like, a Chippendales type show. Like, I was like, that's just what their life is.
Wait, so you don't want to convert now? Dang it.
I have a Book of Mormon in my bag.
When he just whips it out.
Is that the intention?
Yeah, I'm kidding.
You're in cahoots with Hulu.
This is how we're proselyting.
Do you guys feel like the Mormon faith gets a lot more heat than, like, because I feel like when it comes to, like, Christians on reality shows, like, they so open, like, there's not as much heat that comes their way.
I don't know why we do, but I do feel like we do.
I do feel like that.
Why.
Even before the show, it's like if you post anything about being Mormon, like I made a video making a meal for a family. Like I made this like big meal because this family was in need in our church, and so I made them a meal. And I was like, oh, this is what I love about the church is that we have community. Like we make meals. Like that was the extent of like talking about being Mormon. Oh my gosh, the comments were brutal. I was like, for what? I'm literally like making a meal for a family in need, and you're mad that like I'm Mormon because of it? Like I don't know. So I do feel like anytime I post anything with Mormon,
video. I know what you're talking about. Yes.
I went all out. Anyways,
Bizarre.
I think we do get a lot of heat online. I'm not really sure why, but yeah.
I think at least from the, you know, because you guys said that the Mormon community reacted to you. I think there's maybe like a level of projection of like, I mean, obviously they haven't watched the show, but they're just judging based on. I feel like the same thing happened like when the Kardashians first came out. The Armenian community was like, and obviously being Armenian, being Mormon are two completely different things. But I'm just saying, like people felt like they were representing them when I feel like people, if you're going to put your life on a reality show, you're representing yourself at the end of the day. You're not trying to represent anybody else. And I don't think anybody came
and
into
I
it with that
hope people
intention.
remember that because so many of us live it so differently.
Yeah, like we're not trying to be a mouthpiece for the church or like a representative. That's not our intention at all. We're just like showing how we live our lives.
Do you think we could have some sort of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City and
like a crossover?
Real Wives
that would be
crossover.
fun. I mean, I'd be down.
I would love to go dancing with Whitney. Yeah,
Whitney.
The Whitneys need to go dancing.
You know what's funny?
What?
Who was it? Somebody told me that you were giving Whitney Rose vibes.
Oh, really?
I think because you guys both
at
the beginning
hair.
had the short hair.
Yeah.
And Whitney's changed her hair a lot over the 4 seasons, but they were saying that you kind of gave off some of the Whitney energy.
That's funny.
Whitney is
Whitney's
quite
power.
the time.
Yeah.
Are you guys familiar with Jen Shaw at all?
No,
Yeah,
I
I
haven't
am.
watched it, but like everyone says it's so good. So I'm like, I needed to add that to my list.
Her story's
now.
crazy. She's got a crazy story.
She's in prison now.
Yeah.
She was taking advantage of the elderly.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
Money, right?
Yeah.
She was stealing money.
She had like a fraud scheme where she would call up
no.
the elderly and convince them to invest their money.
Yeah.
And so she was helping them with their investments, and
Yeah.
then there was no ROI.
Yeah.
There was no
Damn,
return on the
sad.
investment.
It just went right in the account,
Yeah.
her personal account.
Do you guys see yourself doing TikTok for years to come, or what's kind of the direction of where you want to take your
I
career?
thought you were gonna say forever. I was like, absolutely not. I definitely think probably the next like few years at least, as long as it doesn't get banned. But
Yeah, like it's a fun social media platform. I've actually been really getting into acting lately, though. I've been doing it for the past 2 years, like little small projects here and there, but trying to get with the big boys.
So are you both the breadwinners of your family?
yes,
I'm actually not right now, which is kind of crazy. Yeah, I have slowed down a little bit, just enjoying this last pregnancy. So my husband's the breadwinner right now.
Last pregnancy is in no more babies to come?
No more tubes will be tied after this
Okay.
one. Macy's laughing because I said that
She
after
said
my
that
second.
a year ago she was like, I'm done with it. I'm done.
But I really am this time.
and then she was
I
like,
really
I'm getting
am.
pregnant next year. And then it's
No.
like, now it's December. Now it's this. I was like, it was like getting sooner and sooner. And I was like, okay.
My manager says this. I like to make decisions.
Yeah.
Just I had to have to make a decision.
And then
I
she
guess
changes
without really
it.
thinking about it. Yeah, and then I change it. I'm like, well, okay.
I'm actually, we're very similar. I'm the
Cool.
same way. My manager.
It can be
yeah.
toxic.
She's impulsive is what
Yeah.
I said. I think
Oh, yeah, that's
I said
better.
it a lot on the show.
Yeah.
I don't remember if I said it. I just said it to your face.
Aren't Tauruses impulsive? I'm a Taurus.
I don't know.
I'm
But
a
she is
Gemini.
impulsive.
I'm very impulsive. My manager has to talk me off the ledge many times.
Yeah.
Because I'll be like, we need to do this now.
Bless
Oh,
our
we're going to do
hearts.
this now. It's like, now we're going to pivot into this. And he's like, let's think about that. I actually,
Let's sleep on that one.
Yeah.
well, I was messing with him, and one day I texted him. I was like, so I met this like rep from OnlyFans, and I think they convinced me that like maybe I should get on the app. And he's like, wait, what? He's like, talk me through this. And I was like, well, they said I could make a lot of money, and like Harry Jowsey makes a lot of money doing it. And he calls me immediately, and I'm like, David, I'm not seriously joining OnlyFans.
I'm dead.
I just like to keep him
so
on his
funny.
toes.
Man,
I
they do
love
make
that.
a lot of money though.
They do.
I always say
They
it to my
can.
husband.
There you
can.
go. They can.
There's
yeah.
potential.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Do you think you'll continue to invest more in product now that you have baby mama?
Yes, for sure. It's like definitely been a learning curve going from like having a business, but it's all social media, to like a physical product. And I'm definitely like learning a lot as I go, but I'm really excited about it because our products are really good.
Yeah, this
So,
is the healthiest baby I've ever had
yeah.
because of baby mama.
It's got Prego Mama.
We need
Takes
to like
those gummies.
somebody insert the product
Yeah,
right there.
and then when she has her baby, she's gonna have our postpartum gummy. It's
Yeah.
new mama.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, there we go.
Now on the show, we did see your pregnancy announcement.
Yes.
A little heat from that.
Yeah.
Because we decided to put the test in the cake.
The lid was on.
Wait, you did?
Oh yeah, yeah.
I didn't see it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The pregnancy
I
test
put the
is
pregnancy
in the
test in the cake.
And that was the announcement.
The lid was on,
Whitney's
and
like,
my mom cut the cake, and she was like, "What is that?"
I'm like
it's
a
my
little bit of a
pee.
germaphobe, and Whitney's not at all. So that's kind of where we clash a little bit.
Yeah.
For sure. Like
Yeah.
when we've had to share a bed together, I'm like, oh.
Yeah. She's like, "Did you
I'm like-
bathe?"
She's like, I haven't washed my hair in 3 days. I'm like, oh, great.
Oh man.
So you would announce it differently next time.
No, I loved how I announced it. I thought it was so creative.
Cake kind of had a weird
Like,
flavor.
you wouldn't expect
but
it.
Everybody's so
Like,
creative.
oh, there's a real test in here, and it was actually your test that you
with
peed
pee on
It's
it.
a little
The
confusing.
lid was on. I alcohol swabbed it around it before giving
So
it
you
Okay.
put toxins
to
in the cake too.
the baker.
Oh, so the baker was complicit in this. Like,
Yes.
I
it was.
didn't- oh, okay.
Inserted the test because you had to put frosting over, wherever you were gonna insert it at
Insert
the
it,
bottom. It was a
Interesting.
very technical process.
Very
Wow. So
very-
this
Yeah.
wasn't impulsive at all. This was very thought through.
I really did think this one out. Oh god.
Well,
Interesting.
maybe
you would
we'll,
think
there'll
you
be-
would think it would be impulsive coming from me, but no, I thought that one out. I like kept the test and being like, I'm gonna put this in the cake.
Wow.
Would you have eaten the cake?
No, absolutely not.
The cake was so good.
Absolutely
so I
not.
think you would have. What if you ate around it? where
I
the
still
test
wouldn't.
was?
I don't think
Made
I
with
would.
extra love.
I'd be a
I'd
little
give it to
freaked
her
out.
without her knowing, and then she'd eat it and be like, "Wow, this is the best cake I've ever eaten."
Probably not. I don't know if I would trust a cake that Whitney brought to an event. I'm kidding.
Do you regret not attending the baby mama party?
I do. I wish that it had happened at a different time. I wish that I was in a better place
Yeah.
because, that's like, I would never want Mayci to ever feel like I didn't
I was like,
support her,
bitch, you better
especially.
say yes.
Well, I feel like that was like the catalyst that like
Yeah.
got all the other girls to be like, Whitney's done.
Yeah,
We're cutting
Whitney's
her
a
out for
bitch.
good.
Yeah,
Well, you were.
I do regret that. But it's like hard because I'm just like, well, I wasn't in a place
Yeah.
to have attended that, to be around those women.
Yeah. And they obviously didn't cut you out because you're
No.
still thriving.
Yeah.
Is this baby number 3?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Soon to be 4?
No. We'll see. Just kidding.
What are your family plans for the future?
I have 2 babies in the freezer. It's my favorite tagline to
Twins,
say.
twins, twins, twins.
And yeah, now I was gonna figure out what I'm gonna put them in. So they're just ready to be on thought anytime I say let's go. Yeah. So we'll probably have at least one more, probably 2.
Yeah.
Because if I have 2, I'm like, I might as well. Maybe I'll do 2, put 2 in,
Twins?
a 2 for 1. Not sure though, because I'm really hideous when I'm pregnant. So I really don't. I'm scared. That's why. I'm
She's
waiting.
not. She thinks she is.
Oh, it's bad.
But you just retain water in your face.
I do. I retain more than that. That's for sure. It's a little rough.
So how do you guys still have like content days where you all still get together and batch content?
We've definitely been
Yeah.
a lot busier.
Yeah.
So it's been harder.
I threw one.
It's been a while.
No,
Oh,
I
yeah.
threw
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
Like in July, I think I threw a content day.
But that was a while ago.
It was a while ago. We did one. We did one in August too. I think beginning of
Oh,
August.
yeah.
So we've been doing it's like once a month I want to say. You know, it's hard to get everyone together, get sitters, you know, because none of us have nannies. I think, well, not all of us have nannies. And so I feel like it's hard to find a sitter for like the middle of the afternoon, like do all the things. It's like, it usually is like a once a month type of thing.
Yeah.
How do you batch content though when I feel like the trends are so like in the moment?
You have to find the trend like the night before and be like, okay, this is trending right now. Like, let's do this video. And
they're in the moment, but they also like last a while. Like they last a good month, I think.
And we always come like prepared, like how we usually do it is like each person gets to do one video as a group. And then if you want to do multiple, you have to wait till everyone gets their first video. And then you can get your second is kind of how it works. If not, some people get greedy. So, you know.
Yeah, they're like, wait, one more. I'm like,
we're like, it's not your turn. You had your turn already. Now wait in line.
What is your favorite trend at the moment?
Oh my gosh.
Very demure.
Yes, I love
very
her.
Respectful.
Like,
very.
How can it not be her?
Yeah, that's for sure our favorite trend. Well, at least my favorite trend.
Same.
That one's fun. I'm not very demure. Like I said, I'm very chaotic.
Zack loves the chaos.
I love it.
I do. Sometimes I got into a fight with one of my friends, and then it played out on the podcast, and then we have one of our other friends come in, and he's like, Zack, you literally have days where you call me and you're like, I'm bored, I want to cause some chaos. He's like, and I have to talk you off the ledge. And I was like, but that's what makes life interesting.
Yeah,
but that's fun. I love having friends like that. Because I'm like, I want to cause chaos, but then I'm like too nervous that I'm gonna regret it later. So like, I want you to cause chaos, and I will kind of join and watch.
It's fun.
It is fun.
I get myself into trouble often. But like I said, I keep things exciting.
I love it.
Well, obviously, you have a big secret this season that I won't reveal because I want people to keep watching. But was there any hesitation before revealing the big secret? Like, did you ever think maybe I should not do this on camera?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think so. I definitely revealed it though, but it was one of those things where I don't know how much I can give away. I guess I don't know what I should say, but I definitely thought about doing it off camera for sure. But everything is so real. Like when you're filming, like you forget the cameras are there. Like you forget all the time, and I think we've all been so open and vulnerable on the show that like it almost seems like nothing's really like off camera anymore.
Yeah.
And like they tell you, they're like, save it for camera, like if you have certain things. So, and I think a lot of us did save things for camera, and
do you think that makes your friendships more challenging or less authentic?
I don't feel like it's less authentic. I think it can make it challenging. Like if it was something like to where I was like, I know for sure this specific personality or this person would not want me to say this on camera, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
But with someone like Taylor in this situation, I know she doesn't care. Like I feel like we have that mutual understanding. We both really don't get offended very easily. We both like are fine like that. Pretty, yeah. And so I feel like with her in this situation, I was like, she doesn't care if it's off camera or on camera.
Yeah.
But there's certain people I wouldn't do that to. Like I probably wouldn't do it to you.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't do it to Michaela. You know, because I knew with know their personalities that just wouldn't be the vibe.
Yeah. Some people can take it on
camera. Yeah. I feel like I'm a person who can take it just because I'm like, I really don't care.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, and Taylor's just so open with her life. She literally was talking about swinging on TikTok Live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She is
I feel like we're kind of both similar in that way. I mean, I wasn't swinging, but I feel like I always lay out my dirty laundry. I'm like, and then I got pregnant, and then like this. I'm like, I had sex last night. Like, tell everyone like everything. I'm like, I probably shouldn't be saying this. Like,
have other couples approached you about swinging now that kind of is out there?
Yeah.
No.
I get DMs.
No, not me.
I get DMs like every other week.
Like Mayci would be down.
But like serious. But like serious DMs where they legit think I'm gonna swing. It's like me and my wife like want to swing with you. Like it's like very serious. It's not even like a joke, you know. So I'm like, oh, people really think that still. I'm like, you're not my type. Move along. I'm kidding.
Yeah, it depends. For the right couple, actually, there was this couple in my building, my old apartment building.
Yeah.
And they were a hot couple, and they were an open couple. And I remember having multiple, because we would work out together, whatever. We'd have multiple conversations just because I was very curious. And then I always wanted to be chosen to be part of the throuple.
Choose me.
And they wouldn't choose me. Now they like moved away and now they live in Canada. But I was like, by the time they leave,
I'm
I
dead.
wanted to
I love it.
insert myself into their marriage just to
Yeah.
be chosen.
Yeah,
Yes.
you
You
want to
know,
be
but then I was
chosen.
like, oh, but then if I get into their marriage, I'm going to
It's
break
so
up their marriage.
flattering.
And then like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm going to
Yeah.
feel guilty, but not really. But like, yeah.
And I think it's a curious thing for people. Like, I know when all the swinger drama first came out, like, we had Taylor over at my house. And we were like,
Yeah.
tell us everything. Like, we were just, like, so intrigued. Like,
Yeah.
how did this even happen? Like, how does it come together? And you'll find that all out on the
Yeah.
show. So that's what
Yeah.
you guys will know, too.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
It really is. I'm saying like this one is better than Housewives. I know I tweeted, I was like, everyone needs to watch this. It's the show of the summer. And then people got mad. They're like, summer's over. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. The snow's falling.
The season.
My bad.
Show of the season.
Although September 6th is still technically
Yeah.
before what, Labor Day?
It is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
see?
Yeah.
It's still technically
right.
summer.
Yeah.
It is.
So
Tail
you guys are
end.
the Mormon queens of the summer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
I'll take
All right.
it.
Well, Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, right?
Yeah.
I almost
Yes.
said TikTok wives.
No.
Secret Lives of Mormon
wish.
Wives is streaming now on Hulu. Watch it, binge it, leave a comment below if you're watching on YouTube or Spotify, and let me know your thoughts. And when, because I'm predicting and I'm really good at predictions, when season 2 airs, you guys need to come back.
We're coming back.
Absolutely.
We'll drop
Okay.
all the tea.
Yeah.
Whitney, Mayci, thank you guys. What are your
Thank you.
TikTok, Instagram handles so that people can follow you if they want to catch up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mine's Whit Love It. For
And-
both.
And I'm Mayci Neeley on both as well.
And Mayci is M-A-Y.
Yeah. MAYCINEELEY. Because it's a little funky spelling.
Yeah.
So. But then I get all my handles, you know? Like, I don't have to fight for them.
Smart.
Lucky you.
So it slays.
Yeah. I'm going to change my name for that reason. All right. Thank you, ladies.
Thank
you.
you.